As an Indian, let me narrate a story very, very shameful. And this is not about a school rule. This is about identity. This is about faith and belonging. And it is coming straight from London this time. You're watching TimesXP. My name is Dhritiyatri, and imagine this. An 8-year-old Hindu child, Indian, he walks into his classroom. On his forehead, there was a tilak. Basically, we call it chandan, a symbol of prayer, a sign of faith, something that he has grown up seeing every single day. But instead of learning math or English, he was stopped. The school says this violates the uniform code. They don't call it religious symbol, by the way. They don't call it sacred. They called it a skin mark. Yes. And just like that, the child's faith becomes a problem here. This particular incident happened at Weeks Green Primary School in London. A Christian school it was, an old school. A school that claims diversity, but when it comes to this particular child, diversity ended at the forehead with a tilak. And you know what did the school do? Well, the staff questioned the child, asked him to explain this religion, why he wears the tilak, what it means. Think about that. If it was in a positive way, then this is very nice. The teachers, they were curious about knowing the Hindu culture, but it was more sort of a mocking. An 8-year-old child, he was asked to justify his faith. And it didn't stop there, of course. According to reports, the child, he was closely monitored. Even during recess times, treated differently, watched constantly, not for any misbehavior, but for breaking rules, but for believing. In fact, his parents, they tried everything. They met the teachers, they met the principal, they met the school governance as well. In fact, they explained it very beautifully that tilak is not decoration on the body. It is not a tattoo. It is religion. It is deeply, deeply sacred, and the school, of course, refused to budge. Instead, they asked questions about Hinduism and they ignored the answers. Basically, you know what the school's compromise is? They suggested apply the tilak somewhere that it is not visible. Yes, a head tilak, you should apply it where it is not even visible. Think about that line, faith, but only if no one can see it. Belief, but only in private. Well, the parents refused, and last week they did the unthinkable. They were forced to withdraw their child from that particular school. Not because they wanted to, of course, but because they had to. They had no choice. They chose dignity over admission, and now enters the insight of the UK. A British Hindu organization, they stepped in and they wrote to the school that their argument is very, very simple but very powerful. This violates the UK Equality Act. Chandan is an integral religious practice for many Hindus. Calling it a skin mark is deeply disrespectful, and this is not about fashion. This is about faith. Let me tell you the police response here. They deny discrimination. They say that more than 50 languages are spoken. Many Hindu students, they study there. No one has ever complained. In fact, they argue that tilak is not mandatory in Hinduism. Only certain sectors follow it. Rules are rules. But here's the problem. Who decide what is mandatory in a religion? Nobody. A school policy, maybe a principal or a believer. And this is not the very first time. Reports say that 3 Hindu siblings previously left the same school over similar concerns over religious discrimination, and this is not an isolated case. It is a pattern. This story forces some really, really hard questions. As an Indian, as an Hindu, should schools really respect freedom of speech, freedom of religion? Can uniform rules override faith? Is diversity real or just a slogan on the website? And yes, most importantly, should a child ever feel ashamed of his belief? Because this is not a Tilak or the UK story. This is a story of Indians abroad trying to hold on to their roots, trying to teach their children who they are, and not being told, not like this.